and welcome to my Four Boys and an NL Girl podcast. My name is Patty, and I'm coming to you from the beautiful province of Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada, the most easterly part of Canada, and the most easterly part of North America. This podcast is about knitting and crocheting, sewing, rug hooking, cross-stitching, basically making all the things. I'm a very creative person who loves to make things on a regular basis, and in the run of a week, I can be involved in any variety of crafting projects, and that's what this podcast is about. I'll have information on the screen as to how to contact me, and because I find it easier to list it on the screen rather than recite it out by rote, because guaranteed I'll forget all the different areas or arenas where you can contact me. I'm about to be visited by a cat, so you may see Bella the cat come and visit. We have two cats, Bella and Angel, and I live with my husband and our three little boys who are ages 9, 7, and 5. I'm occasionally going to be distracted by out the window because we are again having a little bit of snow flurries here today. We've had unusual weather since last Thursday, my birthday. On my birthday, it actually ended up being 25 degrees Celsius in the evening. And it's been warm all along. And then just yesterday, the temperature started to drop, and now we're down to 1 degree Celsius. And supposed to go into the minus numbers come this weekend. So all the rain that we've been having, because we've had a lot of rain since last Friday, all the rain that we've been having is now going to turn into snow, and the kids are really excited about that. And so am I. It'll be nice to have some white stuff on the ground now that my snow tires are on the car, so I'm all ready for it. I would like to extend a huge happy Thanksgiving to all my American friends, and especially to my sister Janice. Hi Janice in Colorado. I hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend, and I hope you and our niece are having a great time. It is now Friday. I usually tape on Thursdays for my podcast, but I have a confession to make. I did tape a podcast yesterday on Thursday, the 24th of November. It's now the 25th, so exactly a month to Christmas. So I taped on the 24th yesterday, and for the first time, I taped a podcast that I really didn't enjoy. There were several mistakes in my knitting. When I was showing my knitting, there were several obvious mistakes in it that I didn't like the look of when I did the editing process. I had live stitches coming off my Pure Joy shawl because, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Anyway, I decided that the lighting is better today and I would start anew and try and do another podcast for this week. And so here I am. So this is kind of take 2, even though you're not going to see the original take 1, because like I said, it was a bit of a mess and I've decided to redo it. So here I am. A huge welcome to anybody who's new, who's joining me for the first time. I know that because the lovely Sandy over at By the Lakeside podcast had mentioned me last week in her lovely podcast about the make-along that we're sharing. A few new viewers have come by, so thanks so much for dropping by and watching. And a huge thank you to anybody who is coming back again after our time together. This is episode 11, and we've been together for many weeks now, and thanks so much for joining me every week. I really, really do appreciate it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about this morning are finished objects. And I have been doing more sewing this week than knitting. So I wanted to, and I find with my sewing projects, I tend to get them completed a lot faster than my knitting projects. So I actually have 3 finished objects to show you. The first one I'm going to show you is over here on the side. Hopefully you can see this. This is called the Dreamer Top. It's from the website See Kate Sew, and I'll put the information on the screen. This is a lovely basic t-shirt pattern. This is the second t-shirt pattern that I've made from this from See Kate Sew and from the Dreamer Top pattern, and I absolutely love it. I was looking for a t-shirt pattern that would allow me to repeat it over and over, because I find t-shirts, at least t-shirts that fit me well, difficult to find, and I wanted a basic pattern so I could go to Fabricville, I could find knit fabric on sale in colors that I wanted and make my own. So that's essentially where I am now, and I'll insert a picture here, some other pictures of the Dreamer Top so that you can see them. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing those pictures. I'm really pleased with this t-shirt. Like I said, it's really simple. And I also want to let you know if there's anybody out there who sews and who's interested in making clothes and you don't have a serger, not to worry. I make a lot of clothes and I have a serger. I inherited a serger from my mother-in-law several years ago, but I have yet to learn how to use it. So all of my this dreamer top, any of the clothing that I sew is all done with my sewing machine. And I use a variety of techniques like French seams or pinking shears or double seams to make sure that the fabric looks nice and professional on the inside. So if you're interested in sewing clothes, but you're scared to do so because you don't have a serger, then I would say go right ahead and try it out. I've had great success with it. The other two finished objects I have are from Nicole over at Hugh Loco's video tutorial on how to make a holiday project bag. And I've made these before, so you would have seen the same pattern and the similar type bags in an earlier episode. And I also want to say hi, Nicole, and congratulations on the birth of your new baby girl. Nicole just gave birth to a beautiful, beautiful baby, I noticed on Instagram. So congratulations, Nicole, and your family. So back to the pattern. I will put the information on the screen about where to get this pattern. I have created two bags. These are zippered up project bags. They're a great size for socks. So this is the first one. It's kind of a Delft blue and white with a very blue zipper. I hope the camera's focusing on this. It's got a little tab on the side and I matched the tabs to the inside fabric. So the inside fabric is a blue batik. And these project bags are actually presents for our upcoming holiday presents for friends. So if they're watching, they don't know who they are. This is my other one. It's a darker fabric, so I put in a bright yellow zipper. On this one I've included a key ring with a clasp, and the idea is that you can attach a pair of scissors or any other notions that you want to keep track of them. And then the inside fabric is the same as the bottom outside fabric, so it's a pretty kind of Christmassy tonal red fabric. So that's that one. And I believe the last time I made this pattern, I had mentioned that these are, though the project bags are fairly small, they're good for a sock project or a small mitten project or a hat project. And the next time I make them, I'm going to try and still use Nicole's pattern, but I'm going to increase the pattern by several inches. And I'm interested to see how those bags turn out, because I personally would like a couple of larger bags now, larger project bags, for shawls, maybe eventually a really large one for a sweater size. So I'm going to take Nicole's pattern, enlarge it, and then make some larger bags. So if you're interested in seeing that, you should be able to in future episodes. All right, the next part of my podcast are about whips. It's all about works in progress and whips around here. I have two that I'm going to show you today. I have not gotten back to my husband's Christmas socks. There was a bit of an incident between the Christmas sock yarn and my eldest son's remote control helicopter. It was a real mess, but my husband was kind and patient enough to unwind all the excess yarn that had gone around the middle part of the helicopter. Pete unwound all that for me and managed to get it off so I can still knit with the yarn. I was afraid I was going to have to break it, and if I broke the yarn, that would have messed up the striping between the two socks. If it had messed up the striping between the two socks, then the two socks wouldn't have matched, and I would have been upset about that. So he was really nice and got that all fixed up for me yesterday. However, I have been working on two other whips. One is my Pure Joy shawl by Joji Locatelli. It's housed in one of my project bags that I made, and this, if you go on Pinterest and look up a zippered pouch bag or zippered project bag or something like that, I can't remember what pattern I used for this, but you will find this a bag similar to this that you can replicate. And though you may not be able to see it, that's my zipper pull from Firefly Fiber Arts, and I'll put that information on the screen as well. Hopefully the camera's focusing on that. So I haven't got a whole lot knit on this shawl this week, but I have enough. I have weighed it, and I'm excited to announce that I have enough done on this shawl to enter it in the Die Another Day podcast shawl along. Yay! I'm so happy. I weighed it with the needles and the cable, and I'm at 101 grams. And for the shawl along, you need to knit at least 75 grams. So I am going to, the deadline is the end of November, and I'm going to try and have the shawl finished by then. But just in case I don't, I know that I can still enter it, and that makes me really happy. So you can see from my progress marker there that I'm on the second last wedge. That's how much I knit this week. And the main reason I didn't knit, so this is, it's a really pretty shawl. I love the way that it comes out from this side and the wedges just open up. It's just gorgeous. So the reason I didn't get as much knitting on this shawl this week as I wanted to is because this happened. Okay, now you've seen my broken needle. Completely my fault, nothing to do with knit picks or anything. I was getting off the couch and I happened to press my hand down on the middle of the needle and cracked it in two pieces. Now luckily, one of my local yarn stores, Fiber Lily, through their wholesaler, I can get my knit picks needle replaced. So I need to drop off. I was down there and got another set of size 4 interchangeable needles for my Pure Joy so I could keep knitting. And then now next I need to bring down the broken needle so they can get that sent off and replaced. So yay, Fiber Lily, and thank you Knit Picks for replacing needles. I really appreciate that. I love my Knit Picks needles. I've never had a problem with them. This is the second one I've broken, totally by Patty error. I am quite clumsy, and I have, the 2 times that I've snapped them, anything, if I had had a metal needle in both the circumstances that I broke those needles, I would have bent my metal needle. So I'm not concerned or upset about the broken needle. I really enjoy the Knit Picks needles. I love knitting with wood, and I really enjoy the return policy as well. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a new project I cast on. It's a Christmas project, or as a Christmas present, and I cast it on while I was waiting because it took me a couple days to get down to Fiber Lily and pick up new needles to continue on my Pure Joy. So this one is in my Mrs. Brown's bag. This is, I think it's called the single skein or the small project bag. I love it. My hitchhiker shawl was housed in this bag, but the hitchhiker shawl is in a timeout for now, and I'll talk about that in another episode or two. But for now, I'm working on this hat. And it's a lovely pattern called the Antler Toque from Tin Can Knits. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I'll put the information on the screen like I always do. And here's a picture of this might be a better, hopefully the camera will focus on that. That might be a better picture of the hat itself. So I'm not very far into it, but far enough that you can start to see the cables coming out. So let's see, what section will I show you? So one of the problems I had with my podcast that I taped yesterday is when I looked at the cables, I realized I'd made a very obvious mistake, and I wanted to fix that. I didn't want it in my podcast. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, even though I'm very clumsy and I make mistakes all the time. So there's the gorgeous cabling coming up from this hat. I love it. I'm not terribly proficient with cables. I don't do a lot with cables, but every time I do dabble in them, I think, oh, I really enjoy this. I find I'm slow at it, so it's going to take me a while to knit up this hat. I know some people have knit it in a day or a day and a half, and I'm so pleased that they're able to do that. I'm a little bit slower, but I'm really enjoying it. If you're I would recommend this hat. These cables are very simple, and this would be a great project if you're a beginner or you're new to cabling. I would highly recommend it. Because of the thicker yarn and such, I'm using Cascade 220 in a light gray color. And because it's a thicker yarn, it does knit up really nice and quick, and it makes a gorgeous kind of squishy, warm, woolly fabric that I just love. All right, so those are my 2 works in progress. I also want to talk about mine and Sandy from By the Lakeside's Crafty Winter Make-Along. I have started a thread on Ravelry, and yay, there's 37 or 38 members who have joined the group. So welcome to the very week-old Fourboysandanlgirl Ravelry group. I can't believe I have a group on Ravelry. It's really exciting. So there's already at least one, I haven't checked this morning, but there's at least one finished object in the thread from Barbara at Knitting I Love, because Barbara's really keen and really on the ball, and so she already has one project in there, which is awesome. I mistakenly tried to reply to Barbara's comment in the finished object thread, which I shouldn't have done because now I've slightly messed up the numbers for the random number generator when we pull for prizes. So if you have something that you're entering, here comes Angel. If you have something that you're entering, please, if you could put it in the chatter thread as well as the finished object thread, and then I can comment on it and tell you how wonderful it is, and everybody can comment on all your beautiful work. If you don't have time to put it in both threads, that's fine. I had said that a reasonable amount for the amount of work that you would do for a completed object. So I think I used the example as if you were just crocheting 2-inch circles and those were your ornaments, that maybe that wouldn't be accepted. But if you did 6 or 12 of those ornaments and had those all in, hello Angel. Angel is misnamed. She's really quite the brat of a cat. So anyway, back to my off on a tangent there. If you had 6 or 12 2-inch ornaments, then that would be fine as a finished object. If you had a round ornament this size that was knitted up, that would be fine as a finished object. So it's not a very strict cal. I just wanted people to put, I guess, a little bit of effort into their finished objects. And because this is going right through till the end of January, I'm anticipating lots and lots of people putting in lots and lots of different finished objects. I am going to be taking a picture of my dreamer top and my project bags to put in the chatter thread, just to show people that I'm participating and making things as well, even though obviously it's not going into the prize thread. So I hope that we get lots and lots of participation from both Sandy and my podcasts. And both Sandy and I are really excited about this make-along. And we're really looking forward to seeing all the finished objects that you folks out there have to submit to our finished object threads. Next, Angel is going, I always podcast here from what's known as the Lego corner, and she's now proceeding to chew her way, because she's like a dog, she chews on everything. She's proceeding to chew her way and down the windowsill, which is covered in Legos, and then knock Legos off as she goes. So I may have to take a break and drive her out of that in a minute. The next thing I want to talk about I have some acquisitions. These are some things that I had picked up at Cast On, Cast Off last Saturday, and a couple things that I picked up last Saturday at the St. John's Farmers Market. My husband was kind enough to give me a break on Saturday afternoon, and so I went to the farmers market with no intention of going to Cast On, Cast Off, but then one of the ladies that I was speaking to at the farmers market told me it was Cast On, Cast Off's 3rd anniversary. So here's Angel. Want to come say hello? Want to come say hello to everybody? This is my Angel cat, who's very naughty. Anyway, Cast On, Cast Off, I did purchase a couple things that I want to show you, because these are prizes for the make-along. So the first one is this gorgeous Julie Asselin. This is her Voilier is the name of the colorway. It's on her Piccolo base, which is 80% merino, 20% nylon. There's 420 yards on it, so it is a fingering weight. And I just love the color. It's kind of a tonal blue, though not very tonal, but it's just gorgeous. And of course, it's hand spun and made in Canada. So if you hear chewing, I apologize. That's Angel. She has decided that I need to do something for her. I'm not sure what yet. The other thing that I picked up is by Fleece Artist. It's this gorgeous, and this is a colorway Beach House. So it's got blues, greens, grays, just gorgeous. This is Fleece Artist Cottage Sock Space, 80% merino superwash and 20% nylon. 382 yards on this, and it's gorgeous and soft. So is the Julie Asselin one. These are very similar. They would look great together, even though they were both going into separate prizes for the make-along. But I guess I was in that kind of blue mood when I went down on Saturday. So those are those two. Then at the market, I stopped by Dawn's Creations table. Here's Dawn's card. I'll put that on the screen as well in case the camera isn't focusing. So Dawn is the lady who makes the gorgeous Newfoundland Labrador row houses, stitch markers that I've picked up before. And again, I'll take a picture of these to make sure that you can see them, because I'm not sure if the camera's going to focus on them or not. She also had some new stitch markers there that I hadn't seen before, and they are these gorgeous forget-me-not stitch markers. Now, I'm not sure if these particular stitch markers are going to go into the make-along prize pot or not. The reason being is that the forget-me-not flower is this year, 2016, is the 100th anniversary of the battle at Beaumont Hamel that the Royal Newfoundland Regiment was involved in. And there were over 700 Newfoundland and Labrador young men who went over the hill to fight that particular morning at the battle, and only a little under 60 answered the roll call the next morning. So it's a very significant World War I battle that we remember here in Newfoundland and Labrador every July 1st on what is Canada Day for everybody else in Canada. It starts off here as Memorial Day for that battle, and then ends as the cat is making such a racket. And then we celebrate Canada Day after 12 o'clock. So that's a very, I guess, an important historical moment for my province. And the forget-me-not flower this year has become, I guess, a symbol of that battle and of us not forgetting what happened during that battle and how many, almost an entire generation of men were lost in this province. And that's a very significant event that I like to, I guess I don't want to forget. Not that I would forget it, but it's nice to have that memento of it, so I may keep those stitch markers for myself and pick up some more row houses for the prize pot for the make-along. I also picked up this gorgeous little row house ornament that is going to be another Christmas gift. So thank you, Dawn, for all that you do. I love your work. I think it's just stunning. I know other people love it too, because I've now sent pieces to Italy and to Edmonton, and everybody really seems to like it. I have picked up another piece. I couldn't resist. This is by Northeastern Folk Art, and again, I'll put the information on the screen. And this is a raku-fired sheep ornament that I think is just gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? I love her. I've decided that this is a she sheep, and I have no idea where in my house I'm going to put her, but she's not going to be just out at Christmas. I'm going to put her in pride of place somewhere in my house. I love the raku firing. I don't know much about pottery, although I took a 16-week pottery course a number of years ago to realize that I really suck at pottery. So I have such respect and admiration for potters who can make something like this. I know that there's something special about the glaze, and that's why it's called raku, and why it has that lovely metallic sheen. So that was the other thing that I picked up at the farmers market. So if you're not familiar with the St. John's Farmers Market and you do live in the province, try and check it out. It's on Saturdays from 10 until 2, and I think they run up until I think it's the weekend before Christmas this year if you're interested in going. Well, that's it for my podcast. I didn't mention it earlier, but I like to keep my podcasts around half an hour or a little less. I hope you've had enough time to sit down with a cup of tea and maybe some knitting and enjoy watching this week. I really appreciate you stopping by and having a look and checking me out. If you've really enjoyed what you see, I hope you'll click on the subscribe button below. And I'd love for you to leave a comment. I respond to all comments. It might take me a few days to get back to you, but I do respond to all comments. So if you wanted to drop me a line, that would be great. And I hope that you have lots of time, or at least some time this week, to make something that makes your heart happy. Take care. Bye-bye.